Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Melfield talking to some of my favourite people and some of the country's biggest stars, and we've got one for you today. Jim Bowen is one of the most loved TV presenters and comedians of all time, and I'm delighted to say he joins us on the phone for his 80th birthday. How are you, Jim? Happy birthday.
Thank you, and I'm very well, thank you very much. In good shape and expecting to survive tomorrow.
Can you believe you've made it to 80? It's an extraordinary age, and you've done so much. How do you look back on it? Do you still feel 35?
Yeah, you still, between your ears you do.
Yes.
But the problem is when it gets to your legs and your arms, that part anybody doesn't really know. But I certainly don't. I'm not aware of 80. Although when people say you're 80, it's a mind-focusing number.
Yeah.
You know, you've batted. I've been very lucky. I've just had this stroke at the end of it all, really, which has not been nice, but I've had more than my share of extremely good luck with a priceless marriage and family, and still here.
Remarkable.
I'm not asking too many questions.
I was with Ken Dodd last week in Skegness, and he said, I feel about 25 until I stand on my feet, and then I realise I'm 89. And I suppose it's just the body keeping up with the mind, isn't it?
Is Ken 89?
Yeah, 90 in November. Yeah.
He's phenomenal, isn't he?
Yeah, I love him very much.
Did you watch his act?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was backstage with him, and then I stand in the wings and watch the master. It's still remarkable.
Oh, absolutely. How long did he do?
He was all right. I put him back on for after the interval about 10:30, so he was being quite good.
Christ. He started me in the business, you know.
Did he really?
He doesn't realise he did, but he did. I was when I was still school teaching in the 60s. I was going down the clubs earning a few quid, and Doddy was my idol then. That's in the 60s. He was king then, and I went the first time I went to saw him in the Opera House in Blackpool, and I watched 2 shows, 3,500 people in each house.
Wow!
Right, so that's 7,000 people. He did a total of 6 hours.
Extraordinary.
2 3-hour sets, and he's still doing marathons now, and what a technician, what a craftsman.
Yeah.
He is an awesome talent, and still loves it, still gets excited about it.
Oh, absolutely. And you forget as well that, you know, as well as being an amazing comedian, he's one of the best-selling musical artists in British history. I mean, I think Tears for Souvenirs has sold more records still than John Lennon's Imagine. It's a remarkable success.
Did he really?
Yeah, incredible.
I know in the 60s he was... I went 13 times in the year of 69, maybe 70, 69, I think. Maybe even before that. I went 13 times one season to watch him. And every night I was completely mesmerised by the fact that this man with a funny hat and a tickling stick and a big bass drum can mesmerise 3,500 people and evoke such enjoyment from one body, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, what must that feel like? And obviously it must feel all right because he's still doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, one of the greatest days of my life. He invited me to Buckingham Palace with him in February for the knighthood, and it was just so wonderful to see him finally become Sir Ken Dodd. About time too.
Really?
Yeah.
That must have been marvellous for you.
Yeah, it was a great honour. Great honour.
Oh yeah. There'll never be another.
No.
He's a complete one-off. I mean, we had the Max Millers, and we had all that era of the 30s, Arthur Askey, but put in context against Ken, it pales into insignificance, really.
I don't know about you, but I don't think there can be any other artist in British history has sold more live tickets than him, just because he's been doing it so long and consistently.
Yeah, the pure longevity of the performance is 50 years.
Incredible.
And he's worked 3 and 4 times a night, 7 nights a week.
That's right.
For decades.
Yeah, I think 1964 he did the Palladium, 2 shows a day, Monday to Friday, 3 on a Saturday, and then went to Liverpool on the Sunday and came back and did it for 9 months. Incredible.
Get off.
Yeah, true story. Just on numbers there, that's got to be 1 million people, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Who are the people other than Ken that you've met over the years that you've realised you're in the presence of greatness? Because that's the great thrill about our business, isn't it? To talk to people who are so remarkable.
In terms of social and prestigious standing, I'm very much in the conference league. I didn't meet that many. The biggest one I ever had was I used to play in a band on the QE2. Spent 13 years on there playing in this Dixieland band and singing and generally mucking about. and Vic Damone was the cabaret on the QE2.
Wow.
And we were playing in the Golden Lion pub on the QE2. And we'd been to watch his show in the big room at 8 o'clock. And we went on in the pub. After Vic, and we were in the second room, if you like, the smaller room. And we were playing in the smaller room, having watched Vic Damone. And I stopped playing. At the end of a number, I took to the audience in the pub, and I said, "Now there's the guy you want to see." And I gave him a real bollocking to the audience. I said, "You shouldn't be watching us now. You should be watching Vic Damone. What's the best in the world?" I said, "This man taught Sinatra to sing, and he's got the best pipes in the world." That was what they said about Vic Damone. And the room went silent. And I thought, "Christ, what's happened?" I swore. And then I turned to my left, and in the archway of the room into the pub where I was Vic Damone, standing there silhouetted in the doorway. And I turned and I was speechless. and they all looked and they applauded. And he came up to me and I said, "I'm sorry," I said, I can't speak to you." Bizarre.
Wow.
And the boys, Colin Bryant, who was the band leader, Vic Damone turned round to Colin, who was still on the stand with me, you know.
Yeah.
And he held 3 fingers up, did Vic Damone, which in music parlance, whether it's 3 fingers down, it's a sign of a key signature. A key flag.
Right.
And he just turned to Colin, stuck 3 fingers up, and Colin, straight in on the street where you live.
Wow.
Which was Vic Damone's big one. And he sang the whole song with the band busking.
Incredible.
And I just stood there, and I was I just couldn't speak. It oozed, absolutely oozed stardom. And it was such an affectionate stardom. It wasn't an arrogant manner he had. It was just one of perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the book. It's in the book. In the autobiography, I said the only thing I would say was to the audience in our pub, "Has anybody got a camera?" And somebody at the front got out one of these Instamatic things and took a picture of me and Vic. And it's in the book.
Beautiful.
It's the book. And it was just blinding.
Do you regard yourself as a star? I mean, you've always come across as so humble to me. I grew up watching you on TV, and I'm from Nottingham, so I'd often come down to Central TV and watch you film Bullseye. Do you realise what affection there is for you, how much you're loved, and how big a star you are?
No. I don't regard myself as... No, I don't. It's funny that. It's so lovely of you to say that. And from... I suppose from the emails I'm getting now and phone calls and there's a press article in the Daily Express on Saturday about me. You tend to not be aware of just how... I was never aware how big I was until Bullseye hit the 19 million mark, you know.
Incredible.
Which meant, you know, a lot of people were watching me. And I couldn't go anywhere. But I didn't have a problem with it. It didn't cause me any grief. You
know the ballyhoo they make about X Factor getting 8 million or 7 million. I mean, you were more than doubling that.
I think Boxing Day 89 with 18.9 million.
Incredible.
But we regularly got 10 million on Sunday tea time.
Yeah.
for 16 years. So I suppose when I stop and reckon it all up, I'm famous.
Incredible. And much loved. I mean, the thing about what you did, unlike so many celebrities today, is it had warmth and sincerity. You were what you were. And we loved it for that. I mean, the show has gone down as one of the most iconic in history.
It's, yeah. It was always, I always had I never had time for arrogance and style. If I watched an act that was a good act on stage, but off stage was a bit distant and maybe self-indulgent and verging on the arrogant and being fully aware of how big they were, that didn't rub off with me. I always thought, hang on, I'm a normal bloke who's quite funny at times. I do now know how funny I am. You know, like when I went to Edinburgh 7 years ago, and I did jonglers for a month. I sold out for a month. Amazing. And that was nice. Then I thought, oh Christ, I'm quite famous here. Yeah. And I always appreciated it. I never took it for granted. No. I think that's the thing. I never assumed anything. I always thought, for instance, if anybody asked for an autograph, I almost always, I think really always, acquiesced. Never refused. Never assumed patronage. I always, well, it's nice to be liked. You know what I mean? There was a great cabaret called. I'm rambling on a bit here. Am I all right?
You're all right. I'm enjoying it.
Well, there was one of the best cabaret acts in the business in the 70s was an act called Ronnie Dukes and Ricky Lee.
Right.
Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't. No.
Well, they were one of the strongest cabaret acts. They were a band, man and wife, and a band. Wonderful. And one of his lines was, and I know everybody's used it. It's nothing original. He used to stand there with he was a little fat fella, bald-headed, could sing well, could belt a song out, could tell jokes with a Yorkshire accent, which bled affection. He said, I've thought in life, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Ah,
lovely. Nice line.
Isn't it? And I'm sure it's an old line. It's nothing original. But I thought, I'll have that.
Did you ever get hedonistic? I mean, was the money big in those days, or was it disproportionately small compared to what they get today?
The guys who go on live at the Apollo, I was told one day last week by an agent, who was a dear friend, so I can't tell you who it is, that one of the boys from the Apollo, and I won't say the guy's name, he was not a big name. I don't think he would be as famous as I am now, to be honest. Right. He could probably walk the streets and nearly get away with it, right, which I certainly couldn't do. And he was earning £20,000 for 30 minutes, £50 for the driver, £50 for the sound man. Wow. And he did half an hour and went out. Good Lord. Now that's footballers' money, isn't it? It is, yeah. So I'm not sure how many of the guys who appear at the Apollo get that, but they certainly got more than I do. And having said that, like now, looking at my situation now in this quite nice house in the Lake District, with a nice car outside and a few bob in the bank, I'm a lucky fella, really. Yeah. Do you know where I think you're most lucky? Is the wife and the family, and that you've got contentment. Don't me about it. Because so many don't have that, do they? Oh, absolutely priceless. Yeah. People say, "Do you love your wife?" I say, "No, I don't love her. I worship the ground she walks on. You can't measure how I feel about her, because, especially now I've had this bit of a do, she's become paramount, and it's unbelievable. And I'm living long enough to enjoy and appreciate it. And isn't that beautiful that you've both still got each other? And it's a funny old world, isn't it? Do you think that's partly to do with it? We look at those who have gone off the rails. There are big names. You look at the sort of Michael Barrymores of the world, who were incredibly big stars, and it's so sad to see them now. Yeah. Cannonball, story about them. They were at the Apprentice Theatre in Torquay when I was doing Bullseye, and they were massive. They were filling the house for 16 weeks, twice nightly, packing it out with the merchandising and everything. And I remember Tommy once said to me, and we were chatting about it. I said, "God," I said, "you are massive now." And he said, he just said, "We're big, you know." He said, we're really big. And I thought, now where do you go from there?
Right.
I just thought to myself, and they worked together, and then they separated, and had a horrendous time where they couldn't stand the sight of one another. Even dressed, and I'm not talking out of turn now, because I love the boys. I was just saying, I'm speaking almost out of sympathy for the kids. They were bigger than they could handle.
Right.
And the story goes, I'll tell the story, and Tommy and Bobby will forgive me if it's not right, but I'm fairly sure it is. I was working Coventry, and they were appearing, I think, in pantomime. And the story goes that Tommy walked into the Rolls-Royce garage at Coventry and saw a gold Rolls-Royce.
Wow.
It is not true. It's a good story.
It's great anyway.
And nobody's getting hurt, and Tommy and Bobby are loving for it. And Bobby went in and saw this gold Rolls-Royce and said, "I'll have that." And the salesman said, "Do you want?" He said, "All right, I'll take that." So it's a bag of chips, isn't it? and Tommy said, "Well, if he's having one, I'm having one."
Wow.
Now listen to this. And the salesman said, "We're sorry, but it's the only one we've got in the showroom. There's no more of that." And Bobby said, "Well, if he's not having one, I'm not having one." So the salesman said, "Give me a day." And in the day, he went round with a phone. They didn't email then. There was only telephones then. He rung round and found the identical model in a garage in the northeast. So they both got Rolls Royces. I hope it's apocryphal, that, but that it was that big.
Yeah.
They were absolutely massive.
And again, the scale of show business back then, you were much bigger stars than the stars today, because of course there were far less choices. Now there's 700 channels with nothing on. Back then, if you were on ITV or BBC One, you were literally pulling in 10, 15, 20 million viewers. So I get it. I totally understand. Incredible. Yeah. And then we look at you as a comedian. I mean, you're defined as a TV host that was funny, but fundamentally you are a comedian that was on The Comedians. How do you rate yourself in the grand scheme of comedians in history?
Right. This is just between you and me, right? We're going to keep this a secret.
Yes. You do know we're recording an interview, don't you, Jim?
I turned the volume down. Let the listener just guess what we're talking about. I watched Doddy, and that inspired me. We're going back to Doddy now.
Yeah.
And I watched Doddy decimate 3,500 people twice nightly, and engender such laughter and such joy, and I wanted to do that. I thought, what must that sensation be like to walk on stage banging a big drum with a funny hat and a tickling stick, and wreck people's lives for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Give them complete and utter, undivided, unbridled joy. And I wanted to do it, and I did a bit of it, and I thought, hang on, I can do this. And I did it around the clubs in Blackburn for £3 a night, and I got better and better at watching Doddy, watched Roy Hood, Arthur Askew, all the big names, Tommy Cooper, Eric and Ernie, watched them all and revelled in their enjoyment, if you understand me there.
Yeah.
I thought, what must that be? So I worked at it, and I became very funny, and on form, not too much now. With this speech, it affects the timing a little bit. But when I was on song, I was bloody funny.
You were. And what I loved about you was that you did gags. It seems like now Doddy does gags, but the new comedians, they just tell us they walk down the street and they walk past the post office and they saw a lady with a dog and then we laugh. The jokes aren't in at the moment. I mean,
no, it's social comment, isn't it? And sadly, I'm not a prude. I'm not a narrow-minded. A guy who's lived a bit in Tarbuck when I was 15, so I've been around a bit. And we were somebody quite uncomfortable to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, lucky really, to be honest. And a lot of it I feel uncomfortable with watching with my wife.
Yeah.
And with my daughter. And the women are worse. And I have no compunction in saying that. The women are appalling.
Mm.
Some of the lines and the language they use, I think, why, for goodness sake?
Yeah.
And I'm not a prude. It just is. I just think I think anybody can be funny.
It's sort of like knickers to mother, isn't it? They say something to shock and then they go gynecological, and before you know it, we're hearing about the internal organs. I don't want to hear about it. I'm sure some people do, but
there are some lovely work. Still, there are less and less. You mean Bruce Forsyth? Now, was he a comedian? I think Bruce was a consummate professional and has worked at his craft diligently throughout his life. Is he a comic like Tommy Cooper?
No.
No, he's not. He's an entertainer who's worked hard at his craft.
Yeah.
And he's a good piano player, a very good dancer. He can tell a good story, and he smiles well.
Yeah.
And he can fake affection. I think, didn't Bob Monkhouse, who was one of my heroes,
yes,
and very kind to me. I'll tell you a story about him in a minute. Yeah. When I get boring, you can put the phone down.
No, I'm all right at the moment. I'm still here.
Bob said, now Monkhouse was a comedian. He was a teller of gags, but he wasn't a funny man. You see, Tommy Cooper was a funny man who tells stories.
Like Les Dawson.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now Bruce Forsyth is a man who tells funny stories.
Right.
Cooper was a funny man. He didn't know he was funny. He didn't know how funny he was.
Right.
You know, but there are some who are very, very... I mean, Ernie is a perfectionist in terms of timing, reactions to his partner. Without Ernie there, Eric could be nothing, because Eric timed all his lines, all his skills of phrasing, expression. He timed to perfection, and he needed Ernie to do that. Ernie was just a dancer. He was a tap dancer.
Yeah.
But he timed and reacted to Eric to absolute perfection.
Yeah.
And you got an act. Now I couldn't see many of these guys who appear live at the Apollo. I couldn't see them being. I think you know what it's about. I think it's about generosity.
Right.
I think it's about the two Ronnies talked at one stage, and Ronnie used to say that Ronnie Corbett said that Ronnie Barker was so generous in that he gave the laugh to Ronnie.
Of course, yeah.
And you look at Old No Hours, and look at the laugh he gave to David Jason, and he still a comedian. You still got to be a comedian if you're timing a line and timing a weight, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And these were great comics, and these youngsters, maybe they'll get better. Yeah. Maybe they'll write and mature. I don't know.
There doesn't seem to be much warmth or humility, does there?
Absolutely.
I think that's what. Yeah.
And it's not. It's not sour grapes. I'm not knocking guys. I mean, McIntyre's the consummate performer. But there's someone, I don't know. It doesn't warm my heart, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But I can say this in the confines of my little sitting room here.
That's right.
Where nobody's being hurt or damaged or made to think about themselves. I'm just working out what I like about things.
Of course, you did Peter Kay's Phoenix Nights. Do you love him? Do you think he's probably got the most warmth of the new comics?
Oh yeah, I mean, a mega observer, isn't he?
Yeah.
He doesn't half observe. You know the story about, I did a bit in Phoenix Nights where I was the hotel manager.
Yes.
Have you seen the outtakes?
I love it. Getting the lines wrong with the wig.
It took 12 minutes to do a 40-second set. And we just did. And Peter at the end, he said, "Oh, for God's sake, leave it. We'll carry on."
Isn't that beautiful, though? But he, again, if we were having this conversation now, I mean, I had him on years ago. He doesn't talk to us now. But, again, Peter loves the legends and has learnt from people like you and admires you.
I think he does. He once actually said he did to me, actually. Because within the confine of your own personage, your own being, you have your own rating as to how good you are.
Yeah.
And they are usually, if you're not burdened down by ego, if you can objectively look at the contribution you make to the job you do,
yeah.
be it stand-up comic, game show host, compare, if you can do it objectively, and I think I can, I think I was quite good, actually.
You were wonderful. Funnily enough, I was in Blackpool last week watching Jimmy Tarbuck and Des O'Connor do their show. Des is getting very old now, and he didn't look well at all to me. But when you see somebody like Tarbuck, again, a craftsman, probably much in the same vein as Bruce, he's not necessarily warm, but my God, he's a craftsman. He knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah. All the tricks in the book. All the tricks, Jimmy. He's a Scouser.
Yeah, wonderful.
So he's got a start, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's got 30% native wit.
Yes.
Innate wit
Yes.
before he walked on the stage.
Yeah.
But living in Liverpool, you've got to be a bit like that to get through.
I think it's Doddy who said you've got to have a sense of humour to live in Liverpool.
Absolutely.
And then we look at your health. The first time we spoke, you were quite poorly, I think it's fair to say. I listen to your voice now and you sound so much stronger. I think you'd had, is it 3 strokes? You sound wonderful, Jimmy, as we sit here listening to you today.
Well, I feel all right. I don't feel too happy with the performance. I'm having to work at my speech a bit.
Right. But we can't tell, by the way, if that's any consolation. You sound great.
Was it not as good last time you did it?
I think you're much better. I think you sound great. I can't hear any sign that you're straining at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I am. I'm working, and I've rambled a bit, but I hope not too much to the detriment of your programme.
Not at all. I'm loving it. Fascinating.
No, you're constantly taking stock, I think, aren't you?
Right.
Now and again, you tend to stand in a room and look round, or in the middle of the street, or leaning on a lamppost. Just stand there and just for a couple of minutes, just take stock.
Yeah.
Just what can you do? I know I can tell a story. I can time a line. I'm a generous performer. I never would ever want to upstage anybody.
No.
I regard that as a bit of a crime, actually.
It is. Yeah.
You've been given this privilege to walk on a stage and entertain people. Then don't abuse it. I think it's a question. You see, I think I'm a bit of a scientist now. Ken analyses comedy, and I'm similar in not the same league, but I'm in the same sport of people, and I think laughter and humour. When I go on a stage, the laughter that I engender, it belongs to the audience. It doesn't belong to me, if you know what I mean.
I get it. I also think the audience aren't stupid. They can smell a fake from a mile off, and if you're not sincere,
yeah. Absolutely, they can.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they can. And I think some of the live from the Apollo scene, in a few years' time, I hope a few years' time, not rather than weeks, they will be found out.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Not in a nasty way, but people, they won't last as long as Eric. Because you and I know what we're talking about with Eric. There's only one Eric in comedy. But the Apollo guys, they'll never last as long as Eric. And I can listen to...
Oh, Eddie Izzard?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now there you're looking at that is intellect times 10, isn't it? Spiced with,
incredible,
I don't know, humorous comment. There's humour there, there's comedy there, there's intellectual comment, which is funny. As again, Ken banging the big drum, which is funny.
Yeah.
And the wordsmith, the word power that languages, you know. So this is in no way to decline many of the comics of our current day, because there are a lot about at the moment.
It's business, though, isn't it? It seems to me it's very corporate. It's they're mostly managed by the same 2 or 3 people, and it's a game, isn't it? Those shows are produced by the people who manage them. It's almost not comedy; it's business, isn't it?
And you know, I'm not sure you can perform at your best level in a 2,000-seater arena.
Right.
A good comic is or a lucky comic is somebody who can go onto the ground at Blackpool, a 900-seater, and tear the place to bits.
Yeah. I also think it's easier to do 15,000 people than, let's say, 45 people, because you can see the whites of their eyes if it's a small room, can't you?
Yeah, and a lot of it just goes through the ether, I think. In a 2,000-seater, the minutiae of the comedy, the detail, the flexion of the eyes, the raise of the eyebrow, the wink, the nod, the nuance of the comedy is missed.
And I also think if you're going to an arena to pay 75 quid to watch a screen, you might as well buy the DVD for 14 quid and stay at home, hadn't you?
Well, that's put an end to all our discussion. That's ended the whole
I've ruined it.
You've just ruined it now. All this talking and philosophising how to do that comedy has just gone down the pan.
Yes.
Because you're in another room and you can't see me. So we're having a laugh one with another, aren't we?
I love you very much. I want you to know how much you mean to me. From a little boy, I watch you on the TV. I got to see you record these shows in Nottingham at Central TV, and to talk to you now is such a great thrill. We wish you a very, very happy birthday at 80. How will you be celebrating with the family? Are you going to have a nice dinner or a party?
Yeah, we've got about 30 people coming to the local pub, and they're all people who have a reason to be there.
Yeah.
And it's not show busy. Although I'm hoping John Hamp's coming, the made us and the comedians.
Yeah.
He's not having too good a time with his wife, who's very poorly, but he's trying to get her, knowing Doddy, knowing Hampy, he'll get there.
Good.
Tony Green's coming. He'll be there within one.
Fabulous.
And yes, not many showbiz people. All friends, and
beautiful.
Nobody. I just don't eat much. I said, don't eat much before you come, because it's a good buffet.
Oh, lovely.
Because there's no cabaret.
Wonderful. And your greatest legacy is still your grandkids? You're still besotted?
Yeah, well, they're still a bit special, yeah, and God willing, they'll carry on that way.
Yeah, lovely.
If they carry on like their mother, they'll do very well, and the grandmother.
Yeah.
Because Phyllis has been an icon to all of us.
Yeah.
In terms of credibility, consistency, constant reliability, affection, everything. They're all stacked into the one woman. And she's only 5'2".
Yeah. And we all need somebody to make us great, and to have that at home there waiting for you must have got you through some tough times in show business too, because life's ups and downs, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, how wonderful.
I'm a very lucky lad.
Jim Bowen, it's a great honour talking to you again. I love you very much, and thank you so much for your time. Let's talk this time again next year.
Let's do it.
Happy birthday, my friend.
Have a good weekend.